What is going on, guys? It is Joe back again talking about the Kansas State Wildcats, and let me get it out of the way right now. I know I look awful. Your boy's rocking the comfy today. I've got a pretty gnarly cold going, but I'm pushing through for the love of the game. Because I love K-State, because I love you guys, I decided that I'm just going to rock the comfy, and you guys are going to have to deal with it. I apologize. That one's on me. That is what it is. Your boy's sick. We're getting over it. We're going to push through because K-State has some new football news tonight. We got some big things happening on the gridiron. Kansas State officially in talks. I mean, I should say beyond in talks, not just in talks, but K-State is reportedly closing in on hiring former Oklahoma analyst, as well as Texas Tech head coach, offensive analyst, I should have said, Matt Wells as the next co-offensive coordinator at Kansas State. Quick thoughts. I've talked about it on the podcast. I don't think I've talked about the OC situation on YouTube much, maybe in a live or two, but in this case, I got to tell you real quick, off the bat, I'm stoked about the hire. I'll give you my thoughts on it here in a sec, but before I do, let me remind you real quick to subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you like K-State athletics, I talk K-State basketball, K-State football, and anything else happening under the sun. At K-State, if you're interested, be sure and hit that subscribe button because it does help me a lot, and I appreciate you. And now that we're in a new year, I'm here to really try to focus on the content, get you guys the best content I can give you, despite the fact I'm wearing a comfy. So that one's on me. However, talking about Matt Wells. Now, I was under the impression that it would just be a job given to Conor Riley. Not given, I should say earned. I mean, he did do what I expected, where I know it's not just the bowl game itself, that is the audition. You're going to get more than just that for the interview. Chris Klieman talked about it's not just a 3-hour snapshot. It's how you handle yourself in preparation, how you work with the quarterback, what do you like, what do you not like, and everything under the sun about leading. I was worried about one specific thing because, realistically, I know everybody wants to be like, you have to hire someone outside the building. We can't keep doing this internal stuff. Worked out great with Joe Klanderman, worked out great with Colin Klein. In this case, I was pleading the fifth. I was trusting Chris Klieman because I know, this dude knows more about football than I do. He knows more about coaching than I do. He knows more than I do. I'm going to roll with you because you haven't led me wrong yet. Obviously, there's the Messingham stuff, but you make your corrections, you move on from that, and you take what's left. This is the good thing about Matt Wells. Obviously, he's had a ton of success. I know as a head coach, people are going to be like, well, he wasn't very good at Texas Tech and blah, blah, blah. Dude, I don't care, man. I do not care that he's not a good head coach because you have Chris Klieman, all right? This isn't the same as you're not taking over the entire team, doing your own thing. This has to be your identity. This is your team. You get to work in tandem with somebody you've known for the better part of 3 decades. I mean, these guys have known each other for a long time in coaching, both having extensive resumes in college football. Matt Wells being at the FBS level for the past 27 years, or I should say going into this is his 27th year. Now it will be potentially with K-State. This is not confirmed technically, but from everything I've read on Go PowerCat, from everywhere I've read everywhere else, this is confirmed. I'm not just going to try to be the first guy to talk about it, not just a paywall breaker like that. It's already been reported. We're good to talk about this. This video isn't to convince you that it's the best hire or the worst hire. It's just to give you my thoughts. I just want to tell you what I think about the hire and some of the pros and cons about it. Okay, maybe just the pros. I don't really have any cons immediately, but I think the first thing that I want to mention is don't let Texas Tech fans tell you this is a bad hire. Because nobody has had success in Texas. I mean, Cliff Kingsbury had Mahomes. They go 4-5. Joey McGuire, all this talent, all this recruiting, all this everything, 7-5, 7-5, 6 and it's not a consistent thing since Mike Leach was there. You don't have that dude of this guy's carrying the flag for Tech. So I don't want to point fingers and be like, haha, bad head coach. That equals bad play caller. Not always the case. I'll use an example here as well. Right off the top of the head, Dan Quinn. He was in Atlanta for a number of years. He's with the Dallas Cowboys now as their defensive coordinator. Not a great play caller. You can talk about Chuck Pagano as well. There's a lot of guys that couldn't cut it to a certain extent. Obviously, they're Super Bowl caliber dudes, and they've both been to Super Bowls. They've both done their own thing, but both have had tremendous amounts of more success in the booth or on the field talking to other guys. It's not a spot where everybody's cut to be a head coach just because they're smart dudes and they know the game of football. However, I really like the scheme fit for Avery Johnson, for Kansas State. The caveat for Matt Wells' offense is you're going to need guys that can create separation on the outside. You will. I'm not saying you need, a Marvin Harrison Jr. or whoever. Jace Brown's a perfect example. He'll be a great receiver in the Matt Wells offense. You add a tight end like Garrett Oakley, those are 2 weapons. I talked about in a previous video about portal fits. I think you bring in a guy like Jabri Barber. If you can get the JMU kid, that'd also be great. But I think there's going to be a heavy competition for everybody involved. All I know is Barber is coming to K-State on an official visit, as well as Texas A&M and Michigan State. Michigan State. That's the other school that he's touring. But it's going to be crucial you get the right guys through the portal. But now that you have that guy operating hey, it's not just I'm the 1%, I'm the one guy, I'm the dude that's doing this. It's a tandem with Conor Riley. And I actually really like that fact for 2 reasons. One, Conor Riley, he's an O-line guy, man. He's an O-line guy. He has strengthened the beef. He has created the beef at Kansas State. The reason that all those dudes played in the bowl game was to give Conor Riley the best shot at getting the job. Because now you're stuck being the offensive coordinator operating with a line of guys that haven't played yet this season. That's a tough thing to come up from when you're trying to coach guys that haven't had real game snaps outside of like the SEMO game. Like you haven't had a ton of guys hit the field in that case. Conor Riley, the guys came back for because they love him and they want the best for him. Riley's a dog. Like he's a great dude at running the football. I think I appreciate the things he did. I actually didn't have too much of a problem with his game plan for the bowl game. I know people will be like, well, the third quarter sucked. That was a really Cullen Klein type game to me. And I don't mean that as like a negative way, but I'm just saying like, we were all beating the drum being like, you're so conservative, Colin. What are you doing? You got to throw the, you got to do. We're all going to have issues no matter who's in the booth. You put up 28 points against one of the best defense in the nation. I know the caveat is you're missing your Butt Kiss award-winning linebacker, so there's that. You put up the most rushing yards they've had all season on him and a ton of points with the freshman quarterback in his first start in the college football level outside of playing receiver, of course. You have a lot of good things to take away from that. DJ Giddens goes for $150 on the ground. You pound DJ. The good thing about this is you're marrying a guy like Matt Wells, who has this up-tempo spread offense, this awesome thing. There's going to be a lot of misdirections, a lot of screens. That's Kansas State football, baby. That is what it is. You get a guy like Jabri Barber in that offense, that's ridiculous. Pair that with the prolific rushing attack that Conor Riley knows, like, hey, DJ Giddens, this is an All-American running back. That's the type of dude this guy can be. So you're pairing a guy who I'll see this guy as like, hey, this guy could be a Heisman winner. He could be the face of college football. Direct quote from ESPN's Pete Thamel, by the way, talking about Avery Johnson will be the future face of college football. Everybody thinks about that guy. You have that guy in your offense calling the shots. You pair up Garrett Oakley at tight end. Shoot if you land Lincoln Cured. I mean, that's just over the moon. That's awesome. Garrett Oakley at tight end. You got a couple of young freshman guys that'll be good in rotation there too. DJ Giddens in the backfield. Jace Brown on one side. I'm just going to say Jabri Barber because I think that one's going to be one that we need to pursue that. Like, that's the dude we got to get in Manhattan. Then you toss any dude out on the outside if you're putting Barber or Jace Brown in the slot. Like, that's a dang good lineup. You have a great line, a great solid unit. Like, everywhere out there, you don't need to force Avery Johnson to throw it 45 times a game, but you also need to force him to rush it 12, 15 times a game. Like, you have such an even mix of guys on the field that can cater to multiple strong suits, as well as play whatever style you need. All right, hey, we're up by 8. We got to run the football down their throats to win it. Conor Riley, step in. This is you. Get your guys downhill. We got to go. Conor Riley, this is the perk I should have mentioned earlier. He's on the field. Conor Riley, in this hypothetical in my world, is staying on the field. I don't know if that's true. I can't confirm it, but I do know that he's an O-line coach. He's going to be down there with his guys. I know he had a veteran unit, but he's going to want to be there right with his guys. His part of that is going to be, hey, on the field, I'm communicating to my guys. I'm seeing what the defense is doing. I can relay that to Wells. I can relay that to whoever. I can do my thing and call plays to what might be needed at that time. Matt Wells is up top. Matt Wells is seeing the bird's eye view of everything. So you get a dominant, air raid, up-tempo offensive coordinator paired with a by-the-books, run-it-down-your-throat, nasty type offensive line coach. That's a great pairing, and I love that, and I'm excited to see it. I know some fans might be like, oh, well, we could have gotten this guy. I love the hire. This is experience. This is a relationship. This is a guy who's going to fit well in Manhattan, and I'm excited to see what happens. If this is on Old Takes Exposed or something crazy like that, that's on me. So you know what? I'm setting myself under the rim here. I feel great about the hire, and I think you should too. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Before you check out, let me say this real quick. I've got another video up actually right now. I did my basketball post-game thoughts video. I was a busy man. I had to do 2 videos in one night. It is what it is. I did it for you guys, for everybody else who wants to get a little bit of both. There is another video queued up either above this or below this, whatever comes up next. But go check that video out as well. It dropped at the same time here at 8:30. But guys, I appreciate all the support. I will look forward to making new content with you guys in 2024. But guys, I appreciate each and every one of you supporting. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Go Cats. I know it's a long off season. We'll be there together. Go Cats.